All right, friends, we are looking at the first page in our math booklet, our Eureka Squared booklet. We are going to move forward with some more understanding of fractions. So we are going to follow the directions here, and you can work independently and work ahead if you feel comfortable doing so, but you must be quiet while I am showing you on this video how to do the work. Okay, so it's asking us to shade each tape diagram to represent the fraction, then use the fractions to make true comparison statements. Okay, now notice that the two bars are exactly the same length and width because you cannot compare fractions unless you're looking at objects that are the same size. So it's asking us to shade in 2/3. So we're going to carefully shade in 2/3, like so. And then it is asking us from there to shade in 2/8. So I'm going to shade in 2 pieces out of 3, okay? And then I'm going to shade in 2 pieces out of 8. And you can clearly see that 2 pieces out of 3 is greater than 2 pieces out of 8. Now, I told you you can check your work when you're comparing fractions through the cross multiplication method. So let's see if that works. If we take 2 times 8, we get 16. If we take 2 times 3, we get 6. So in fact, 16 is greater than 6. So 2/3 is greater than 2/8. Yes, you do need to show this model because it's another way to show your thinking. Moving on to number 2, 3 pieces out of 6. Again, we're providing that visual so we understand how the fractions work. Keeping in mind the definition of a fraction is that it is part of a whole. This is the whole strip. We are shading in 3 pieces out of the 6, and in here we are shading in 3 pieces out of 4. 3 pieces out of 4. And we can see that 3 pieces out of 6 is less than 3 pieces out of 4. Using the cross multiplication method, we can check 3/6 versus 3/4. Take our numerator 3 times 4 is 12. Take our numerator here 3 times 6 is 18. 12 is less than 18 because 3 out of 6 is less than 3 out of 4. All right, moving on to our next page. It's asking us to use the fraction strip to mark and label the fractions on the number line. Include the fractions 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 are already marked for you. Now, it's telling you to then complete the number bond. So how many pieces have we divided our fraction strip into? We've divided it into 2. We're going to put 1/2. And again, wherever your markings are should be equal to the number on the bottom on the number line. So we have 1/2 and we have another 1/2. 1/2 plus 1/2 is equal to 1/2. Moving on to thirds. 1 piece out of 3, 2 pieces out of 3. So if we have 1 piece out of 3, another 1 piece out of 3, and another 1 piece out of 3, we have 3 total pieces out of 3, just like up here. We had 2 pieces out of 2, and that became our whole number. Okay, moving on to the next thing. On the back here, we're doing the same thing with fourths. Okay, again, it's got to line up. 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4. That 1 becomes 4/4, and that 0 is 0/4. Okay, so 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. And we know that 4 pieces out of 4 is equal to that 1/2. Okay. Number 4, Mia uses a fraction strip to partition the interval from 0 to 1 into fractional units. What fractional unit does Mia partition the interval into? Knowing that it's all about your hops, we're going to start here and hop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what fractional unit does Mia partition the interval into? She partitions it into sixths. Label the fractions on the number line, include the fractions at 0 and 1. So that's going to be 0/6, 1/6, 2/6, 3 over 6, 4 over 6, 5 over 6, and 6 over 6. If you'd like to take it one more step and simplify, you can do that, but for the sake of this question, I'm going to keep it as is. Okay, moving on to number 5. Ray cuts a piece of ribbon into 8 equal pieces. Partition the fraction strip into 8 equal parts to show how Ray cuts the ribbon. Now, you're using this fraction strip. The easiest thing to think of is we know that 4 out of 8 is going to be half. So let's start there. That looks about half. So we're going to label that, okay, 4 out of 8. And then we're going to backtrack from there. So that's going to be 3 out of 8, and that's going to be 2 out of 8, and that's going to be 1 out of 8. You want to try to make these as equal as possible. 5 out of 8, 6 out of 8, 7 out of 8. And then we actually have to label the fractions. Okay, so that's going to be 0 out of 8, 1 out of 8, 2 out of 8, 3 out of 8, 4 out of 8, 5 out of 8, 6 out of 8, 7 out of 8, and then 8 out of 8 will equal your whole. Okay, again, this tells you 8 equal pieces. That's how we figured it out. And again, we can check our hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hops. Okay, looking at number 6. Robin runs 1 mile. She checks her watch every quarter mile. Quarter mile. Okay, quarter. Partition the interval from 0 to 1 in quarters to represent when Robin checks her watch. Again, let's take a look and see. We want it to be about half. We can match it up with what's up there. So that would be 2 pieces out of 4. Then we can backtrack. 1 piece out of 4, 3 pieces out of 4, 4 pieces out of 4, 0 pieces out of 4. So we partitioned it and we labeled it. Okay, make sure you're answering both questions. All right, moving on to number 7. Carla uses unit fraction tiles to partition the interval from 0 to 1 into fifths. Fifths, okay? What mistake does Carla make? If you said that she made a mistake right here, you are 100% correct. You are 100% correct. She should have done 0 over 5, 1 over 5. Let's make that 5. 2 over 5, 3 over 5, 4 over 5, and 5 over 5. So the mistake that Carla makes is she needed to start at 0 over 5. She needed to start at 0 or 0 over 5. That was her mistake, okay? Because this, my friends, would become 1 1/5, and that would be past the number 1 on the number line. That would be 1 1/5. So that's the mistake that she made, and it's a mistake that a lot of friends your age tend to do. So be very careful when you're labeling your fractions. All right, moving on to number 7. Number 7 says partition the fraction into sixths, then mark and label the fractions on the number line. Include the fractions at 0 and 1. So it's telling us sixth. We know that 3 pieces out of 6 is half. So we're going to start here, okay? And we're going to work backwards. 3 pieces out of 6. So then we have 2 pieces out of 6, and we have 1 piece out of 6. And that would be 4 pieces out of 6, and that would be 5 pieces out of 6. That would be then 6 pieces out of 6, and again, that 0 marking should be 0 pieces out of 6. Now, if you're going on to the next lesson, you can do so. If there happens to be a blank number line or a blank box with no direction, that's when you know you need to stop, because you have to have a discussion with me so that I can tell you exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson for today. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will be around to help.